What's going on, everybody? It's Adam from Free Weights and Freedom, bringing you a rare midweek meal prep. It is Thursday. As you guys know, normally I like to meal prep on Sundays and do a little video for you guys. I did meal prep on Sunday, but I was just tired. Responder Ruckus CrossFit competition that benefited the organization, which was awesome, but it just took a lot out of me. Prepping the gym Friday, the actual competition Saturday, so I just wanted to cook and not have to worry about doing a video on Sunday. And so normally I do like to do 2 meal preps during the week, just to kind of space it out and have some more meals. So that's what we're gonna do today. I used the air fryer for the first time on Sunday, which was awesome. I made those steak fajitas. Turned out great, turned out perfect, so I wanted to give it another shot. And I found this recipe for some Italian meatballs in the air fryer. So I'm gonna do those along with make some pasta with it. With some sauce, something really easy, simple, that should be good. As you guys know, I like to bring you easy meals, macro friendly, and hopefully they taste good. And I think this one will. So one of my biggest pet peeves, what a lot of people hate, when you go like these food bloggers, and you click on their recipe and it's like 10 pages of their life story talking about a meatloaf that, you know, reminded them of when they were 4 years old and this and that, and their parents got in this fight and all this. And it's like 10 pages, like just get me to the recipe. But this one did make me think back. So in this meatball recipe, you're gonna get your hands dirty. You're gonna be handling your meat. Got about 2 pounds of it. And it brought me back to kind of my adolescent days, which a lot of guys can probably relate to, those early teen years when you used to handle your meat. And I'm gonna show you some tips and tricks to make that a little easier, make this process a little easier. That's gonna remind you of those early teen years. So what we're gonna need for this one, obviously air fryer. I have the Phillips right here. Called for 2 pounds, so 2 pounds of ground beef. I use 93.7. You can do 85.15 if you want. Mixing bowl, obviously, for to mix up the meatballs. You're gonna need some garlic. You're gonna need some Parmesan cheese. You're gonna need salt and pepper. Boom. You are going to need some oregano leaves, which are optional, but I'm going to use them. Breadcrumbs. You need a binder. Some breadcrumbs. Olive oil, and that's mainly to coat the grill pan and the air fryer. Like you said, you can use whatever you want. If you don't want to use pasta, you just want to make the meatballs, you can use spaghetti, obviously, but I'm going to use penne noodles. And that should be it for the, 2 eggs also, which I have right here. 2 eggs, that's what you're gonna need. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so I got some water boiling for the pasta. Now we're gonna need to go ahead and get this meatball mixture made. And I went ahead and already slapped my meat in that bowl, threw the garlic in there. So now I got all the dry ingredients that I mentioned earlier in one bowl. Just gonna throw them on in there. Set to the side, and crack these 2 eggs in there. I wish I had those one-hand egg cracking skills, but maybe one day. You need some kind of binder, so that's what these eggs are gonna do. Okay. And you can use this, like a wooden spatula or something to get it mixed in there to get it started, which I'll do. But as you guys know, really the best way to really handle any meat is really just get your hands around it. So once I just kind of get the initial thing going here, I'm actually going to get my hands dirty, get my hands wrapped around that meat and get to work. All right, set that in there. All right. It's gonna get a little messy, but and maybe I'll speed this up in the video so you guys don't have to watch this whole process. But breadcrumbs are in there. It's coming along nicely. Just find a nice rhythm, when you got your hands on any meat, or you're kind of trying to mix something. Find a nice steady rhythm. Okay. You want to be firm, but not too firm with it. All right. Still pretty delicate, but, and that is coming together nicely. Okay. So essentially you're gonna have one giant meatball like this right now. Here's what it's looking like, and I will wash my hands after this, but so don't you worry. So now you got a nice and combined and nice and mixed. So now you can start actually forming it into balls of meat. Just added the pasta to the pot. That needs to cook for about 11 or 12 minutes. Just go by based on what the box says. Usually about 11 to 12 minutes and it's good. Stir it every now and then, but now we're gonna go ahead and start forming meatballs. I think with 2 pounds, you could probably make close to maybe 2 dozen, but we'll see. So the tip I wanted to give you, as many guys learn at a very early age, when you're handling meat, it's fine with the dry hand, but things tend to get sticky. So what you can do is just use a little bit of oil on your hand. Rub some oil on your hand, and that's going to prevent the meat from sticking to your hand, at least in theory. So we'll see. So this is really just kind of, you know, based on really your own judgment. You know, some are going to be bigger, some are going to be smaller. You know, in my experience with meat and balls, I've never seen 2 that were identical. You know, you usually got one that's slightly bigger than the other, or, you know, one might be shaped just a little different than the other one, but just kind of go by what you feel. You can use the cookie scoop if you wanted like perfectly even balls, but right now I'm going like about this size right here, if you can see it. This is the first time for me in the air fryer, so we'll see how it goes. I'll do one more for you guys on camera, and then I'll come back once I got the first batch in. But yeah, as you can see, look at my hands. Boom, nothing. Good to go. Okay, so I'm gonna make the rest of these, and then we're gonna set them in the air fryer and get going. Okay, got the first batch done. I was able to fit 9 in the basket, so now we're gonna go ahead and throw them in the air fryer. So 350 for about 10 to 12 minutes first, and then you're gonna turn them over and do an additional 4 to 5. So I'll see if I can, you guys can see it. If not, I don't wanna like tip them over like that, but I just kind of spaced them out evenly, oiled the bottom of the rack with a little bit of olive oil. So now I'm just gonna stick them in the air fryer. And it has a timer, already got it on 350, but you can just go by your clock, because this thing's not very, you know, it's literally just like, you're trying to guess like where 11 or 12 is. So let's just kind of set it at about 12. I'm just gonna go by the clock. So now that's just gonna cook. I'll check on it at about 12 minutes. Flip them for an additional 4 to 5, and then we'll see what they look like when they're done. The pasta's just about done also. All right, meatballs are done. I did about 11 minutes. I checked one, it was still a little bit pink in the center. Turned them over, just kind of rotated them in the basket with some tongs. Did an additional about 3 minutes. They look great right now. So pasta's already done, I already added some sauce to that. I'll plate one here later, but what I'm gonna do now is just, I just use the extra sauce, the red sauce, which you can make your own if you want, which there's some easy recipes for it. You know, I do it every now and then, but I just went ahead with a jar this time because it's easy. So I just got some of the sauce in the bottom, and all I'm gonna do is throw these in here just to get them covered with some of the spaghetti sauce. I'm gonna have to do a few batches of meatballs just because of the size of the basket and the amount that I had in there, but I'm just gonna throw these in there right now. As you can see, they look really good. I mean, they came out great, perfect. Looks fairly moist. They didn't stick to the bottom, which was awesome. I think definitely oiling that grill basket helps. I'm just gonna kind of lightly, slightly toss these in here in the sauce and coat them to give them a little bit of extra flavor as that goes like flying out of the pan. Okay. All right. And once you got them lightly coated with some spaghetti sauce, what I'll do now is I will grab this the penne that's done. Just throw it on a plate right here. I'll show you kind of what it's going to look like on a plate. My plating skills are not great, but it's all good. It's pretty good right there. And I'm I'm gonna do probably like, you know, since it's kind of a meal prep, it doesn't matter. I have basically 2 pounds of ground beef, which I know I'm gonna split into 8 servings. So it really doesn't matter as long as I make 8 servings. So let's do 3. We'll go 3 on here right now. Looks pretty good. Let's see if we can make that a little pretty, and I can show you guys what that's gonna look like plated. I'll get this out of the way. So there you have it. Air fryer meatballs with some penne and some red sauce, just like that, it's done. I'll post the recipe and probably the macros, but just off the top of my head, you know, a serving of the ground beef, probably 160 to 170 calories. 1 serving of the penne is right at 200, so 370. You know, you had a couple eggs in there, some of the Parmesan cheese, but split 8 ways, it's gonna be pretty negligible. So I'd say probably 200 to 370, probably right around 400 a serving. Not too bad. You can see what it looks like, nice and pretty. Just like that, about 15 minutes, you're done. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Give the Facebook page a like. I'll post it to YouTube, which Doug Tippman's my only fan out there, but maybe it'll blow up, we'll see. Thanks for tuning in. Join me again on Sunday for another episode of Getting Ripped with Tripp.